A gunman opens fire on a rampage across Logan. Police shot at in the dangerous pursuit. Broncos star Ezra Mam under investigation. Drug tested after a crash puts 4 in hospital. Airport emergency. A flight grounded in Sydney as tactical police respond to an onboard threat. The glitch causing Commonwealth Bank customers to be charged twice for transactions. A teen's heavy-duty joyride leaves a trail of destruction on the Gold Coast. And the King and Queen's first day in Australia, soaking up the sunshine before their official duties begin.
This is 9 News Queensland with Aislin Kriukelis.
Good evening. An out-of-control gunman in a stolen car has run rampant across Logan overnight, firing shots at police and pedestrians and sparking fear on the streets. The lengthy ordeal ending in a siege that sent an entire suburb into lockdown. Officers labelling it one of the most dangerous standoffs they've seen.
One blast, then a barrage of bullets. Startling residents on Bix Court Crestmead early this morning.
At some point, the guns went off. It was pretty scary. We were all just hiding.
But bringing to an end a volatile, hours-long standoff between an accused gunman and dozens of police.
We could have easily been talking about the loss of police lives today.
Shooting.
The drama unfolding from 6:40 last night in Browns Plains when officers deployed tyre spikes to stop a stolen Suzuki Vitara and the driver pulled a gun.
It's alleged that the offender has actually produced a shortened firearm from the driver's side window and discharged one round.
The 32-year-old man took off, firing another 2 shots from the car at the parade of flashing lights in his pursuit.
This is probably one of the most dangerous situations and incidents Brisbane has experienced for some time. An active armed offender whilst driving, shooting at pedestrians, drivers and police. Forcing those police to abandon their chase, later finding the Suzuki dumped at nearby Hillcrest. The man allegedly escaping in another stolen car before barricading himself inside his parents' home with 3 others. Several surrounding streets were plunged into lockdown, officers wielding tasers attempting to force entry, but it wasn't until well after midnight that the ordeal came to a head. Neighbours have told 9 News the man walked outside the house, seemingly about to surrender. But before police could act, he was heading back inside, officers yelling at him not to touch his gun before taking their opportunity. It will be alleged that the offender almost shot police at point-blank range after the offender agreed to surrender to police. It's understood the man's gun was unregistered. Tonight he's in intensive care at the PA hospital. The police officers involved are physically okay, reminded of just how risky their work can be. Abby Gearin, 9 News.
The Brisbane Broncos are in damage control tonight after star player Ezra Mam was involved in a crash that left 3 others, including a young girl, in hospital. Mam allegedly testing positive on a roadside drug test.
A confronting scene after a head-on crash. On one side, a little girl shaken, wrapped in a blanket, surrounded by paramedics. On the other, one of the country's brightest sporting stars. Ezra Mam, allegedly behind the wheel of this ute when it collided with an Uber. The 21-year-old, fresh off signing a new multi-million-dollar deal, touted a future Origin star. This photo snapped just moments before he allegedly tested positive to a roadside drug test. CCTV captured the seconds before the smash. Just after 5 o'clock, Mam's sponsored Ford Ute seen crossing onto the wrong side of the road. The moment of impact just out of shot. This, the aftermath. Simpsons Road in Brisbane's west shut down. Paramedics whisking the woman and her daughter to hospital in a stable condition. While Mam was tested at the scene, police say he returned a blood alcohol reading of 0, but a positive result for drugs. Mam then taken in the back of this ambulance with a police escort, detained for further blood tests at hospital. The results of those tests, police say, could take weeks. The Ford Ranger loaded onto a tow truck, taken away. Police also alleging Mam was driving unlicensed. No charges have yet been been laid.
Unsure all the details, but at the end of the day, yeah, you never want to see any of your players get hurt or injured or anything like that. Yeah, hopefully he's fine.
The Broncos have told 9 News the NRL's integrity unit has been made aware of the matter. The club eager to stress that Mam's thoughts are both with the driver and passengers of the other car. It's not Mam's first controversy this year. Just last month, the 21-year-old made headlines with Broncos teammate Reece Walsh investigated by the NRL over claims a member of the public's mobile phone was damaged during a night out in Bali.
They are role models for many in the community, and we rightly hold them to a higher standard.
Club boss Dave Donaghy touched down in Brisbane this morning, returning from an overseas trip, while 9 News understands new coach Michael Maguire was briefed on last night's ordeal and is said to be furious. Bailey Kenzie, 9 News.
We're going to take you straight to breaking news now out of Sydney, where an Air New Zealand plane has been grounded. Reporter Helene Lambetsos joins us from the newsroom. Helene, what more can you tell us?
Well, Aislin, good evening. It was about an hour and a half ago when this Air New Zealand flight from Wellington landed at Sydney Airport, sparking a major emergency services response. Police, including the Tactical Operations Unit, were then sent to the airport due to reports of an unknown threat on board. The aircraft held on the tarmac with 154 passengers and staff on board. But we do have some good news breaking. The last half hour, that aircraft has moved to the terminal and emergency services have started to be stood down. Aislin.
That is some good news. Helene, thanks for the update. With 1 week until Election Day, a new poll shows the LNP is poised to seize power next Saturday as it maintains a solid lead over Labor. But there is some good news for Stephen Miles, with his popularity lifting during the election campaign.
David Kriukelis meeting voters in Aspley.
This will be my 10th year with Queensland Health, so very interested to hear what you're going to do.
Thank you for what you do. While the Premier campaigns in the state's most marginal seat of Bundaberg, as polls predict, it could be his farewell tour.
Look, this election was always going to be very challenging for Labor, particularly with such a crafty opponent.
The latest poll of 1,500 voters taken over the last week has the LNP leading Labor 55 to 45 on a two-party preferred basis. Although the preferred Premier contest has narrowed, David Kriukelis now only ahead by just 1 point.
I am confident that many more Queenslanders are going to get to know David Kriukelis and learn to dislike him.
This election will be close, and I'm urging Queenslanders, please vote for change.
On primary vote, the LNP are on 41%, Labor's at 31%, while the Greens and One Nation are tied on 11%. What's also significant for southeast electorates is Labor appears to be picking up votes from the Greens, boosting the hopes of inner-city government MPs like Grace and Jonty Bush, who are fighting to save their seats. But while Stephen Miles' popularity is lifting, 10 years in office brings with it baggage.
I'd like to personally apologise to the families of those who have been affected.
The Premier saying sorry for failures at Redland Hospital from 2008 to 2018, in which 73 patients suffered substandard care, with at least 12 cancer patients potentially having their life cut short.
It occurred over a very long period of time, successive governments.
Queensland Health will never be fixed unless the government changes.
The opposition leader saying he'll consider allowing Queensland health workers to flag concerns anonymously, with health workers currently having to submit entries in the government Riskman alert system under their own names.
Very happy to consider that, very much, and very happy to talk to Ros about it as well.
Well, health workers can make public interest disclosures. They can do so anonymously, and there is quite a track record of that occurring.
The LNP also committing to releasing serious Part 9 health investigations in full.
Yes, we do. And personal information will always be kept as personal information.
And Tim Avia joins me in the studio now with exclusive breaking news. Tim, an LNP candidate has apologised over a social media post.
Yes, Aislin. Earlier today, Bree James, the LNP candidate in the must-win seat of Barron River, posted this picture of her defaced banner with a Hitler moustache on a post promoting the Cairns German Festival, writing, "Even my banner is getting in the spirit and celebrating my German heritage." Happy Saturday. After drawing immediate criticism online, the post was deleted. 9 News contacted LNP HQ, who released a statement from Bree James 30 minutes ago about the post of the Hitler moustache, saying, in an attempt to make light of that vandalism, I posted a picture on my Facebook, which I now deeply regret. It was offensive and it was not funny, and I sincerely regret posting it. The post has been taken down. I am deeply sorry to anyone I have offended. Aislin, I'm sure we'll hear more about this on the campaign tomorrow.
I'm sure we will. Tim Avia, thank you. King Charles and Queen Camilla have spent their first day in Sydney, taking in our famous views of the harbour. It was a rest day for the royals ahead of a packed schedule for the remainder of their trip down under.
They're used to balcony appearances, but none quite like this. From Admiralty House at Kirribilli, King Charles and Queen Camilla soaking up Sydney Harbour. The sun shining as they stroll the lawn, the King in cream chinos and a sports coat, Camilla a blue sundress and a navy cardigan. Escorted by a staff member, the Queen taking in the Opera House view. Later, the King swapping his jacket for a pair of aviator sunglasses. Lounging on a chair while talking on the phone. The Queen appearing in a white caftan with a cup of tea. The royal couple touching down in Sydney on an Australian Air Force plane last night, moments before a powerful storm rolling through. Clutching an umbrella, the Queen carefully making her way to the tarmac. Wearing one of her favourite royal blue dresses from British designer Fiona Clare, pinned on her chest, a nod to Australia, the wattle brooch. The couple greeted by dignitaries including the Governor-General and Prime Minister, and 12-year-old Kai from Adelaide, who has a blood condition his dream to meet the King and Queen, granted by the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Handing a posy of Australian natives to Her Majesty alongside his sister Charlotte.
She commented on the weather and the flowers, saying how nice the flowers were, not so much the weather.
The weather also delaying the Queen Elizabeth cruise ship leaving Circular Quay, which in turn held up Sydney's welcome gesture of images of the King and Queen being projected onto the sails of the Opera House as their Majesties were whisked away for a quick catch-up with the Prime Minister.
And we were able to have a drink and a chat on an informal basis. It was a great honour.
Hiya, guys.
Today, outside Admiralty House,
3 cheers for the King!
royal watchers trying to catch a glimpse.
Good morning, King Charles!
And at Royal Randwick, thousands of loyal subjects turning out for the Everest. But one race, the King Charles Stakes, was the talk of the track.
I have been waiting for him. I said I'm going to bring my British passport in case he's here.
Where are they? Are they upstairs?
I'm looking up, but I can't see them. With a crowd of 50,000 people, this is a sellout event. Call it the lure of the crown. For Royal Randwick, the royal tour is a success.
To have that race, King Charles III named after him, and what an amazing experience.
God save the King.
In Kirribilli, Ruth Wynne-Williams, 9 News.
And Ruth Wynne-Williams is at Admiralty House in Kirribilli following the royal tour.
We didn't see the King and Queen at the track today, the couple choosing to stay right here at beautiful Admiralty House. Today was always set down as a rest day, and that means that tomorrow is officially day 2 of the Royal Tour of Australia. The couple enjoying a rare break, some much needed downtime together while they can before the tour steps up.
Hamas remains defiant following the death of its leader, Yahya Sinwar, vowing it will only strengthen the militant group. The assassination has world leaders adamant that now is the time to secure a ceasefire in Gaza.
The moment Israel got their man. The IDF releasing this video, it says, shows a tank firing into the building where, unbeknownst to them at the time, Yahya Sinwar was barricaded. In the Hamas leader's final moments, he sat hunched, injured, hurling a stick at a drone. Israel described it as pathetic. Hamas says it shows he fought bravely to the end. Allah chose him as a martyr, a political official says, the first time the terror group has spoken since Sinwar's death, remaining defiant that his demise will only strengthen them. In Jordan and Yemen, crowds took to the streets to celebrate Sinwar's life. Together in Berlin, the leaders of the US, UK, France and Germany united in declaring there's an immediate necessity to end the war.
The death of the leader of Hamas represents a moment of justice.
The answer is diplomacy. And now we must make the most of this moment.
But a ceasefire may remain elusive as Hezbollah and Iran back Hamas's statements, warning this pivotal point in the war will only harden the resolve and determination of the resistance. In London, Jessica Millward, 9 News.
The political brawl over housing is heating up, with the federal opposition unveiling a plan to unlock access to 500,000 homes. Both Peter Dutton and Prime Minister Anthony Albanese in Western Australia today, selling their version of the Australian dream.
Peter Dutton out and about in the West with a new plan for housing.
You'll be the greatest housing minister ever.
If a coalition government is elected next year.
I want to make sure that we can build these homes and backyards and make sure that young Australians have hope again.
They say the way to do that is with a $5 billion federal investment in critical infrastructure to connect potential new housing sites to water, power, sewerage and access roads.
We're here today to say that we're introducing 500,000 additional blocks of land into the market so that those people can move from rent to home ownership.
The plan welcomed by the industry.
We cannot build until infrastructure is in place. We've got developments in Sydney that are just sitting waiting for the delivery of sewage, for instance.
Peter Dutton also announcing a freeze on the National Construction Code in a bid to reduce red tape.
It's crippling and it's adding cost. We reckon it probably adds at least $30,000 to the cost of a new home.
The Prime Minister also in WA.
Hi, how you going?
Hoping to hold on to votes in the must-win state with his own housing plan.
We've got a $32 billion Homes for Australia plan. They're going to spend less money, not more.
The claims the coalition are making here are absolutely fanciful.
With building starts at a decade low and home ownership out of reach for many Australians, all parties are ramping up their pitch to voters on housing, sure to be a major factor at next year's election. Amanda Kopp, 9 News.
Caught on camera, a teen's heavy machinery joyride causes chaos on the Gold Coast. Customers charged twice following a bank glitch. Have you been affected? A man arrested over a violent rampage with an axe. And at the end of sport, we track the Royals, the public's first chance to meet the King and Queen. A North Queensland man has been charged for allegedly going on a violent rampage through the streets of Serena overnight. The 44-year-old has been hit with 10 offences, including assault, willful damage and going armed as to cause fear. A number of shop fronts were damaged in the incident. A couple in their 20s has escaped from a fire at Curran Cove on Stradbroke Island that destroyed a property. Emergency crews on the island rushed to the resort late this afternoon. Locals helped to douse the flames until they arrived. A dog perished in the blaze. The cause of the fire is under investigation. A construction site thief has been busted on the Gold Coast after stealing heavy machinery and taking it on a joyride through the suburbs, smashing into multiple cars. The rampage caught on CCTV.
Rolling round Coomera straight off a construction site, but this compacting machine isn't roadworthy.
Around 2 a.m. I heard a huge noise out the front and I presumed it was like a loud car. And when I looked out the blind, it was a tractor, like with a big rolly thing at the front.
Stolen from a nearby housing development, taking out temporary fencing and smashing into at least 2 other vehicles. The roller manoeuvring roundabouts, leaving an obvious trail for police before eventually going off-road.
They couldn't go anywhere because it's a one-way street, and they tried to reverse and couldn't, so then they just disappeared into the bush.
The dog squad quick on the scene, scouring surrounding bushland here off Seashell Avenue, eventually arresting a teenage boy.
The 17-year-old has been charged with multiple offences, including enter premises, dangerous operation of a vehicle and driving over the no alcohol limit. He'll face Southport Children's Court on Monday. Yasmin Bonnell, 9 News.
Hundreds of Commonwealth Bank customers have been left with overdrawn accounts after a technical glitch saw them charged twice for payments. Hayley Francis explains.
Throughout the day, more and more customers have come to realise they've been double charged for transactions they've made in recent days. Some customers reporting their bank accounts are now overdrawn and they haven't been able to pay for essentials like medication, fuel, food and rent. The Commonwealth Bank has acknowledged the glitch, one of its executives speaking a short time ago.
The process to reverse these transactions is underway and should complete early this evening. Customers don't need to take action to ensure this takes place. We will do it automatically on their behalf.
Now, the bank has more than 17 million customers. Those now in overdraft or experiencing financial hardship as a result of this are advised to call the bank's 24-hour customer service line or to visit a branch.
The new sleeping pill helping Aussies get a good night's rest. In a 9 News special report, we reveal the simple capsule tackling insomnia. How you can help this major sleep study. That story is ahead. Emotional scenes. Liam Payne's father reads tributes to his son at the hotel where the One Direction star died. A Brazilian man jailed after more than 10 years on the run. Grave threat. Thousands of North Korea troops in Russia preparing to fight Ukraine. Plus, residents evacuated as wildfire destroys homes in California. A Brazilian national who spent 10 years on the run across Australia after being charged over his role in an international cocaine smuggling syndicate has been jailed by a Queensland court. The man was arrested on the Gold Coast 12 years ago over a conspiracy to smuggle more than 1 kilo of the drugs into Australia, but disappeared after being granted bail. He was arrested in Perth in 2022 and was this week sentenced to 8 years jail. The father of One Direction star Liam Payne has travelled to Argentina to formally identify the 31-year-old's body. Jeff Payne's grief was on public display as fans gathered outside the hotel where he died.
Liam Payne's father mourns with his fans. Jeff Payne reading notes of condolence before placing a kiss on a photo of his son left outside the Buenos Aires hotel where he died. He mouths thank you to those holding vigil for the One Direction star before retreating within. Staff then take him to the third-floor balcony where Liam spent his final moments, Jeff travelling to Argentina with the grim task of identifying his son's body and arranging its return home. The 31-year-old singer is survived by his son, Bear. Today, his former partner Cheryl shared this photo of the pair and wrote of her grief. Liam was not only a pop star and celebrity, he was a son, a brother, an uncle, a dear friend and a father to our 7-year-old son, a son that now has to face the reality of never seeing his father again. His girlfriend Kate Cassidy penned a message to Liam, my angel, saying nothing about the past few days have felt real. Simon Cowell, the music mogul behind One Direction, paid tribute to the kind, funny, sweet, thoughtful, talented, humble and focused man. And from Robbie Williams, Liam's trials and tribulations were very similar to mine. What a handsome, talented boy. What a tragic, painful loss. That pain clear to see on his father's face. Amber Caneen, 9 News.
A bushfire has forced power to be cut and hundreds of homes to be evacuated. In California, the Oakland Hills blaze is being fanned by dry and windy conditions. Difficult terrain has made it challenging to fight the flames on the ground. Crews instead tackling them by air, spraying water and dropping fire retardant. Further reports today that North Korea has dispatched troops to fight for Russia as it wages war against Ukraine. South Korea's intelligence agency says at least 1,500 soldiers have travelled to Russia and are currently undergoing training. Ukrainian leader Volodymyr Zelensky has described the development as the first step to a world war. Donald Trump left seething after being silenced on the campaign trail. Plus, the star duo backing Kamala Harris. The new sleep pill tackling insomnia. And there are millions of pigeons in New York but one giant one has residents in a flap. Less than 3 weeks out from the US election, the Democrats are ramping up the pressure on Donald Trump. But the former president had more pressing issues today. His rally derailed by a technical issue.
Donald Trump trying to make noise in a crucial swing state.
We win Michigan, we win the whole ball game.
Silenced.
It's not respect.
When a microphone cut out, the former president left to pace the stage for 18 minutes, growing visibly frustrated before eventually...
Hello. If it goes out again, I'll sue the ass off that company.
On a day, Democratic heavyweights questioned his fitness to be Commander-in-Chief.
Have you seen him lately? You would be worried if your grandpa was acting like this.
He wants 4 more years of chaos.
Kamala Harris leaping on reports her opponent is exhausted and rejecting interviews.
If you are exhausted on the campaign trail, it raises real questions about whether you are fit for the toughest job in the world.
I've gone 48 days now without a rest, and I've got that loser who doesn't have the energy of a rabbit.
The Vice President is turning to star support. Tomorrow, Usher and Lizzo in Georgia. Next week, appearing alongside former First Lady Michelle Obama and her husband. Today, the Harris campaign collided with Donald Trump's in the key blue wall state of Michigan.
We have to get the hell out and vote and get him out of here.
Donald Trump is also seeking the attention of Rupert Murdoch. Meeting him today, he says, essentially to urge him to use Fox to aid the Trump campaign.
Don't put on negative commercials for 21 days. Don't put them. And don't put on their horrible people that come and lie. I'm going to say, Rupert, please do it this way.
Right.
In the United States, Jonathan Kersley, 9 News.
Taking a look at today's property results now. 22 properties went to auction, the clearance coming in at 44%. As for the most expensive, it sold at Hawthorne for over $2.5 million. On the cheaper end of the scale, a property at Bray Park sold for $762,000. New York is home to 9 million pigeons, but only one like this. A 5-metre-tall aluminium statue of a pigeon has been installed in Manhattan, the enormous bird looming over the city streets. It's named Dinosaur, in a nod to its scale. Its artist said he intended to reverse the typical power dynamic between man and bird. It's quite the sight. Coming up, an early Melbourne Cup tip emerges at the Spring Racing Carnival. The emotional Suncorp Stadium reunion for a Kangaroos debutante. At the end of sport, we follow the Royal Tour. What's next for the King and Queen?
And what a spot for tonight's weather here in the middle of the Neville Bonner Bridge. She's been a real scorcher around the southeast today, but what is in store for our Sunday? Well, I'll have all the details of full weather and beach and surf report for you coming up soon.
Good evening. A revenge mission against New Zealand is now on the radar for the Kangaroos after prevailing in a torrid encounter against Tonga at Suncorp Stadium. Queensland playmaker Tom Dearden easing doubts over blooding a rookie halves pairing in the Pacific Championships.
Having travelled more than 1,000 kilometres to watch their boy play his first game for Australia, the family of Zach Lomax witnessing the birth of a new era for the Kangaroos.
Mate, it's unbelievable, and for me, mate, that's what it's all about, to see how proud and what it means to my family, mate. It's what it's all about.
Xavier Coates among the 6 debutants, this victory ending a week of torment for the winger after being targeted by online trolls for choosing to play for Australia instead of PNG.
Oh, you just got to block it out, but obviously there's always going to be hate no matter what you do. They can say what they want, but this is my dream, and I'm just so proud to do it here at Suncorp with a great bunch of blokes, with my family sitting in the crowd watching me.
The 18-0 scoreline not an accurate reflection of an intensely fought-out encounter. Australia's speed advantage decisive.
And Hamas have I feed with the speed.
Jake Travojevic on hand to congratulate brother Tom on ending his 6-year absence from the international stage with a match-changing moment.
But it just shows what the class of player he is and how tough he is, because, you know, he just eats, sleeps and breathes rugby league, and, you know, he's as tough as they come.
Tom Dearden easing doubts over having a rookie halves pairing during his first time teaming up with Mitchell Moses.
Oh, he's outstanding. He just competes. He competes on everything, and I was really proud of him to get that try at the end. I thought we just kept turning up for each other tonight, and that's what we wanted to do, and that's what we're going to pride ourselves on, and we did that.
The Kangaroos will now travel to New Zealand for their next match, where a win over the Kiwis would secure them a place in the final of this year's Pacific Championships. The defeat not denting the Tongans' confidence and sense of belief from the Red Army.
You know, we can definitely challenge Australia. Any athlete's mindset is, if you don't believe in yourself, you're not going to get any success. So that's where it starts.
Adam Jackson, 9 News.
After dominating the Broncos' end-of-season awards, Julia Robinson has put on another all-conquering display for the Gillaroos in the Pacific Championships. The winger scoring half a dozen tries in the 84-0 thrashing. There's no stopping Julia Robinson.
Oh, it's incredible. I love wearing this jersey. I love playing with the girls I get to play with.
The former Army truck driver breaking the...
Like serving the Army for definitely a few years has helped me, like, I guess, with my resilience and like coming into like a team sport as well. I guess you need that. You need your teamwork. It's definitely helped me as a person and as an athlete as well.
She's an incredible human, an incredible footballer.
I feel like I just love life, hey. Like, I just want to come into the team and just bring all the energy.
So these girls need to know how hard it actually is and what the standards that they need to be at to actually play at this level.
Nathan Lyon says he's ready to bowl more overs this Test summer to cover the loss of injured all-rounder Cameron Green.
I hope so. I want the ball in the hand every time I get the opportunity. So I want to bowl. I love bowling. There's no secret behind that. So I'm more than happy to take the extra workload.
Lyon also declaring 19-year-old New South Wales opener Sam Constas will be a superstar of the game as he pushes for a Test debut against India. Bella Nipotina has produced a gutsy run from the outside barrier to win the Everest at Royal Randwick. A sold-out crowd cheered on the veteran mare, who made history as the first female horse to take out the race.
A rowdy Randwick crowd warming up with what's become an Everest tradition. But with $20 million on offer, the race itself is serious stuff. The James Cummings-trained traffic warden are late scratching at the barriers, leaving a field of 11 for the world's richest turf race.
We're ready to go. The gates are back here in the Everest. They're off and racing to the massive roar of the crowd.
Bella Nipotina jumping best from the outside gate, taking an early lead. But in the final 200 metres, a former champion loomed large.
Up the inside is Giga Kick. Giga Kick going to Bella Nipotina. Bella's in front though. Bella Nipotina wins the Everest from Giga Kick.
The 7-year-old becoming the equal oldest winner of the race and the first mare to triumph.
You know, we thought she was in career best form, and she got her conditions to suit. To do it this late in her career, you know, like a 54 start or something like that, it's unbelievable.
Kieran said, you know, let's just trust her. We might be a bit wide, but let's not be negative, let's be positive.
A false start in Melbourne for the Caulfield Cup.
Now Warmonger's broken through the front.
But on the restart, it was Kieran Maher's moment again. Duke de Sessa leading from start to finish on jockey Harry Coffey's birthday. Luke Dovesey, 9 News.
A-League returned to the City of Sails for the first time in 17 years this afternoon. More than 20,000 fans turning out to watch Auckland FC make their debut against the Roar. The hosts on the board first, courtesy of an own goal from Brisbane defender Harry van der Saag. Auckland adding another goal after the break, keeping the Roar scoreless across the ditch. Relief for the Suns in the AFLW, posting their first win of the season after 7 defeats and a draw. Suns forward Jacqueline Dupay scoring 2 goals in the 50-46 win over the gritty Swans, extending Sydney's losing streak to 5 matches. There was a frightening high-speed crash in the opening MotoGP race at Phillip Island. Marco Bezzecchi slamming into Maverick Vinales when travelling at 230 kilometres an hour. The Italians stretch it off, but remarkably both riders escaped serious injury. Aussie Jack Miller also failed to finish the race. That was won by Jorge Martin. Oscar Piastri will start the US Grand Prix from 16th after a horror qualifying session that could have been a whole lot worse. The Australian penalised for exceeding track limits, overshooting turn 19 where he was lucky not to lose control of his McLaren. Max Verstappen will start from pole. Tim Zhu is once again looking to become a world champion tomorrow, weighing in slightly heavier than Bakram Murtazaliev ahead of their IBF Super Welterweight title showdown in Orlando, Florida.
This is my moment, vengeance and no mercy on my mind.
The Russian is undefeated after 22 fights, while Zhu has suffered only one loss in his 24 bouts. Aislin, there will be a lot of Aussies watching that one.
It'll be very popular. Dom, thank you very much. Well, the Australian public will have their first chance to rub shoulders with royalty tomorrow, with King Charles and Queen Camilla spending the day in Sydney. Kate Creedon has more.
Well, the King and Queen will attend a service here at St Thomas's Anglican Church in North Sydney tomorrow morning, officiated by the Archbishop of Sydney. As they're leaving at around 11:30, there will be an opportunity to see them, but those hoping to catch a glimpse of the royals are being advised to arrive early to account for road closures and security screening. The King will then head over to New South Wales Parliament for a bicentenary of the Legislative Council event. He'll then return to Admiralty House to meet with the Governor-General, followed by the New South Wales Governor in the afternoon. Currently, there's nothing on the official schedule for tomorrow night, but they'll no doubt still be dealing with some jet lag.
In just 3 minutes, the new pill tackling insomnia. Australian scientists calling for more volunteers for a huge sleep study. How you can help. That story's next. But first, Luke is back with a quick check of the weather. Luke, have we got any showers on the way tomorrow?
I think we're going to be safe here in the city, Aislin. Maybe see some showers, only very light up around the sunny coast. A better chance next week, though. I'll show you the outlook and the beach and surf report coming up next.
Around 1 in 3 of us suffer from insomnia, which can lead to depression, anxiety, even high blood pressure and heart disease. Now, researchers are developing a new cannabis pill to help people get a good night's rest, inviting Queenslanders to be part of the study.
Tossing and turning and trying to fall asleep is a nightly routine for Jodie Coleman.
Stress is a big thing that comes from, I think, not sleeping, because everything gets amplified.
The 41-year-old mum has suffered from insomnia for 7 years and says she's tried several sleep remedies to beat the nocturnal nightmare. And now she's keen to be involved in one of Australia's biggest ever sleep studies, trialling a CBD capsule.
I would absolutely be open to trying anything that might give me a better night's sleep.
Cannabidiol is the non-psychoactive part of medicinal cannabis, so it's got no THC, you can drive with it, it won't get you high, it won't get you stoned.
Paul Gavin, CEO of Avecho, says the biotech company is in stage 3 of clinical trials, involving more than 500 patients across the country, but more volunteers are needed.
So we're looking for anyone that has insomnia symptoms at least 3 times a week and have had those symptoms for a minimum period of 3 months. We're hoping to be the first ones to get it successfully registered, and that's why our trial is so big and so rigorous.
It's hard to believe, but we spend about a third of our lives sleeping, or about 26 years if we live to 80. And medical professionals recommend getting at least 7 to 8 hours a night for optimum health. Volunteers will be needed for 3 months and paid for their time. And all you have to do is pop a pill, keep a journal and hopefully get a good night's sleep.
Felt better when we got out of bed and had enough sleep, had enough energy and enough fuel in the tank to do all of the things. Imagine that.
Michelle Tapper, 9 News.
Time now for your full weather forecast with Luke Bradnam. Luke, we have some cooler temps on the way tomorrow.
We do, Aislin. Yes, a lot of people might be happy to hear that. We've had a bit of a scorcher today. In fact, Amberley today, second hottest temp of the year so far, 36.7 degrees. Haven't hit that since early January this year. So a southeasterly wind change moving through tomorrow. We're going to see those temperatures 5-6 degrees cooler for most areas, and just the possibility of some showers. I'll show you that outlook in just a moment. Have a look at those temperatures first up from around the southeast today. As I said, a scorcher for all of us. Most of us seeing temps up around 30 degrees. That's what we reached here in the city. Amberley, Ipswich low, 36.7. Let's call it 37 degrees. One of the coolest spots, the Gold Coast today, picking up those cooling sea breezes, a top of 29. Just some light showers around the western suburbs at the moment. If you look at tomorrow's weather map, you can see a low off the coast. That's going to push some dangerous surf up parts of the New South Wales coast, as well as potentially some showers and storms. We could see some showers creep into our state as well, and interstate this weekend, a partly cloudy one with dangerous surf on the way tomorrow for Sydney, sunny for Canberra, a possible morning shower for Melbourne, sunny in Adelaide, and showers on the way for Perth. For you in Darwin, a shower or two late in the afternoon, top of 34 degrees. Back home, sunshine and light winds along the North Queensland coastline. Scorching temps again in the west though, the Isa and Longreach all up in the high 30s, in the mid-30s for Roma tomorrow, and then mostly sunny through the Capricornia and Fraser coast tomorrow, with just the slightest chance of some light showers late in the evening, mostly around Gympie and Maryborough. Here in the southeast, we're going to wake to those temps, as I said, a lot cooler than what we had today. A slight chance of showers, mostly around the sunny coast, a top of just 26 degrees along the coast tomorrow. Ipswich getting up to 29, and not a great day offshore for the boaties, but not too bad on the bay tomorrow. Southwesterly winds 10 to 15 knots to begin with. They'll shift southeast and get up to 20 knots by mid-morning. 27 the top tomorrow here in the city, and dropping down overnight to 19. And then looking ahead, partly cloudy for our Monday and Tuesday. For Ipswich, mostly sunny for Monday, partly cloudy for Tuesday and Wednesday. For the Goldie, sunshine and 26 degrees for Monday, partly cloudy 26 both Tuesday and Wednesday, and pretty similar for you on the Sunshine Coast as well. Best chance of showers late next week. Let's check the beaches for tomorrow. It was pretty lean pickings for the board riders out there this morning, with those northerly winds kicking in super early. This is the best of a very average bunch that we could find for you up around the spit, the northern beaches of the Gold Coast. You can see lumpy and bumpy and only about 1 to 2 foot of swell. Wave of the day going to the foil boarders who are enjoying the conditions out there today. The good news for tomorrow is a southeasterly wind change heading our way. We will see an increase in the swell. Try the open beaches early, and then by the afternoon we should have chest to head high waves on those southern wave magnets. For a family day down the beach, the morning will be the pick of the bunch. Noosa up on the sunny coast, Burleigh heads down here on the Gold Coast, offering a little bit of protection from the winds. Water temp just a tick over 20 degrees, and not a lot of fun offshore for the boaties, unfortunately, tomorrow. Keely Rose charters out of Rainbow Beach, braining them through the week, and Jackie Taylor in the estuaries pulling a great flatty. Great stuff. Yeah, a bit more comfortable out and about tomorrow, guys. Enjoy those cooler temps and maybe those showers towards the middle of next week. Have a good Sunday, and we'll see you tomorrow night.
It will be a welcome relief after today. It was a hot one. Luke, thank you very much. And that is 9 News Queensland for this Saturday. Thanks for your company. Deb Knight's up next with the current affair. I'm Aislin Kriukelis. From all of us, good night.